Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out on a rainy, dreary evening to meet our superintendent candidates at our meet and greet this evening. I'm Amber Roundtree, and I represent South Knoxville on the school board. I'm also vice chair, and I had the honor of chairing the superintendent search committee, which was also made up of Tony Norman from District 3 and Susan Horn from District 5. And I just want to say a quick but heartfelt thank you to the other committee members and all their work that they've done in the process. And I have to give another thank you to our board chair, Patty Bounds, and the rest of the board for the confidence they placed in us to do this challenging job. And we're proud tonight to present both candidates, Dale Lynch and Bob Thomas, to you. We're also honored to have with us Heather Haley, meteorologist and reporter from WVLT, here tonight to serve as the moderator of our forum. I know we have lots of questions for both candidates, so I will hand it over to Heather and let her take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Ms. Roundtree. All right, so hopefully everybody had a chance to do a little meet and greet earlier. She and the Superintendent Search Committee presented the names of these two candidates to the board last week. Now you are going to hear from both these two candidates, Dale Lynch and Bob Thomas, tonight. You were greeted by Mr. Lynch as you came in. Now he will come on up. He'll give a brief introduction of himself and a summary of the presentation he gave to the members of the board yesterday. Then he'll have approximately 50 minutes for questions. Now, the questions being asked of him tonight were compiled by the Knox County Schools Public Affairs team from the questions that were submitted via email, text messages, and in person tonight. Mr. Lynch will take about 2 to 3 minutes to answer each question, and we'll get through as many as we can. I'll actually step forward at about the 2.5 minute mark so we can hopefully get through all of them, because I know there's a lot of really important questions that you guys have submitted. When he's finished up, we will take a short break, and then we'll follow up with the exact same process with Mr. Thomas. So we'll go ahead and get started.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank you for being here this evening. I want to thank the Board of Education here in Knox County. As I shared with them yesterday, being a school board member sometimes can be a very thankless job. Many people in the community, they do not understand and know the pressures and complexities of being a school board member. Being a superintendent since 2000, both in Elizabethton and now in Hamilton County, I know firsthand the pressures placed on school board members. Thank you for your service. I also met several county commissioners in the audience. Thank you for your service as well. And I know that you have the hearts of your constituents in mind in all the decisions that you make. So thank you again for your service. A little bit about Dale Lynch before we get started with questions tonight and do a summary of yesterday. I just want you to know that I'm going to start back why I became an educator and a teacher, made that decision in 1986. I had an opportunity to do some reflection in thinking about being here this evening, and the reason that I chose to become a teacher was because I love kids. And I love kids more today than I ever have. The second reason I became an educator and a teacher and an administrator and now a superintendent is because I felt like I could make a difference. I felt like that I could make a difference in the lives of boys and girls. Felt like I could make a difference in a community in which I served, in which I worked. I was very fortunate to graduate from Milligan College and then graduate work at East Tennessee State University, where I received my master's and doctorate, and was hired as a 7th grade science teacher at Jonesboro Middle School. After serving in Jonesboro Middle School, I also taught at David Crockett High School. I taught economics and I taught keyboarding. And I coached whatever they told me to coach. And my bosses, the athletic directors and principals, told me that I was going to be coaching football. I coached girls softball and I coached basketball. I loved every minute that I spent in the classroom, and I still love to be around athletics today. After serving in Washington County as a teacher and then as an administrator, I was very fortunate to receive the opportunity to become assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction in Elizabethton. And I served there for a number of years before my predecessor retired from Tennessee and took a job at Georgia Southern, and then they appointed me superintendent in Elizabethton. I learned from some of the greatest educators, I think, in East Tennessee and Elizabethton. And then after serving in Elizabethton as superintendent in 2001, I was appointed superintendent in Hamilton County. And I want you to know right now, I am still very proud of the work that we're accomplishing in Hamilton County. We have great teachers, we have great administrators, and we have a tremendous community that's working hard to make sure that boys and girls are taken care of in Hamilton County. We're very proud of our accomplishments, but I can certainly tell you it's not just because of my leadership. I'm only a part of that team in Hamilton County. Now, yesterday was a grueling day. I know it was for Mr. Thomas, and Mr. Thomas is indeed a great friend of mine, and I know he's an outstanding educator too. But it was tough for us to go through that process, but it was good for us to go through that process. And some of the things that I shared, some of the thoughts and ideas that I shared with the Board of Education yesterday that I quickly want to share with you tonight before we go into questions, that I would want you to know about Dale Lynch, the superintendent in Hamilton County, who wants to be your superintendent here in Knox County, is that I would tell you that we would focus on a culture of excellence, sustained, continuous improvement. And the way that I believe that you build a culture of excellence in a school system and a community is around building relationships with people. Relationships just like that when you entered the front door. We've got parents, we've got teachers in the audience, we've got administrators, we've got members from the community. It will take all of us to continue to make sure that we make Knox County schools the best in the South. But to be the best in the South, you just have to be your best. So I pledge to you that I will work as hard. You're going to ask me questions tonight that I'm probably not going to know the answer. They ask me questions every day in Hamilton County that I don't know the answer. But that's why you have to surround yourself with great people. And that's what we've done in building a team. So I'll do my very best to answer the questions, but I also want you to know that my leadership comes from the heart. And whatever I do and whatever I say, I want you to know whether I'm the next superintendent in Knox County or in Hamilton County or in the state of Tennessee, I'm an advocate for public education. And in closing with my comments from yesterday, relationships and trust. You cannot learn it any better than from the true champion in Knoxville. And the video I shared yesterday with Pat Summit. Pat Summit she won every award, trophy. She won it all right here in Knoxville. And her words were, "You win with people." Teachers, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm your biggest fan. I was when I was in Elizabethton, and I am in Hamilton County. And regardless of whether I'm your next superintendent, I will always be your cheerleader. Being a superintendent's tough, but being a teacher, that's where it really, really is tough. Thank you for your service.
We'll start with our first question. Again, you have about 3 minutes to answer if we can get through all of about 21 questions that we have tonight. Why do you want to leave your current position to become superintendent of Knox County? Second part of this. So again, why do you want to leave your current position to become superintendent of Knox County? Tell us the 3 most important attributes that qualify you for this position and why.
Well, I'm still debating on whether I want to leave Hamilton County. And I think about that question, and I've thought about that question long and hard, because I'm in a great community with a school board member that supports me, with the greatest administrators I've ever worked with, and wonderful, wonderful students that I had the opportunity to eat lunch with today. But there is something that I believe that's special in this community. I would not be here tonight if I did not think that Knox County could be a special kind of education system in the state of Tennessee. You've got the power, you've got the position to be the best in Tennessee. And I would like to work alongside you in making sure that we make that happen here in Knox County. What makes me, 3 attributes that make me qualify for this position. I would tell you that I've been an educator for almost 3 decades, and I've served in 2 communities as a superintendent. Being a leader is not easy. Being a leader is you have to be a listener. So I would tell you that I listen, I try to build relationships, and my experiences are beyond the superintendency. Through my work with Tennessee School Boards Association and the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents, I've been advocating in Nashville for public education for a number of years, and will continue to do that. I think my experience and my work with people would be what I think would qualify me for the superintendency here in Knoxville.
What do you think the top priorities for Knox County schools ought to be?
Well, again, I think coming in from another school system, not being here, living with you, working with you, looking at all the situations and troubles and trials and celebrations you have here in Knox County. I am not one that comes in, and I shared this yesterday, I don't believe in coming in tearing down fences until you understand and know why they were built in the first place. I've looked at the strategic plan, I've looked at the priorities of this school system. So what I would tell you, what I would bring is exactly what I said earlier and what I think the priority should be. And that would be building those relationships with people, a culture of excellence. And the way you build that culture of excellence is you can't do it from the central office. You can't do it from the district office. We've got to know student stories in education, and we have to tell those student stories.
What is the first issue you want to take action on as superintendent?
I want to build strong relationships with the Board of Education. My work with the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents has been working with school districts from Memphis to Mountain City, east to west. I've had the opportunity to work with school board members right here, and I've had the opportunity to work with school board members across this great state. And I'll tell you, if the relationship between your superintendent and Board of Education, if it's not healthy, if it doesn't work, it will affect what happens in the classroom. So whether I'm your superintendent or whether I'm not your superintendent, I have urged this Board of Education to take advantage of this opportunity. It is an opportunity that you don't get very often, but it is an opportunity that you can work together to partner with each other, not that you always have to agree, but that you have to work together and make sure you put the focus and spotlight back where it needs to be in the classrooms here in Knox County.
All right, this is a two-part question as well. We have 89 schools, soon to be 91, which span urban, suburban, and rural communities. How would you go about meeting and introducing yourself to each one of these?
I don't think you can introduce yourself to people unless you're there. And there are some people out here in the audience that know me, and thank you for being here. And the biggest question I receive from people who know Dale Lynch says, you can't do that there. You can't do that there. I was in 5 schools today in Hamilton County. They say, you can't do that there. I can do that here. I can do that. My leadership style would have to change, no question. Just like my leadership style from Elizabethton of a 2,300 one high school town to a 10,000 student school district. But you also have to empower people, because that's what it's all about. It's about people, and you have to entrust people to do their jobs. So I would tell you, to get to know people, I have to be out among you. And I know the work is there in the central office, but I also have to be in classrooms and be in schools. But I also have to entrust the leadership team also.
What communication methods would you use between the district and the community?
Well, I've always believed in an open door policy. I believe that the community needs to be able to have access to the superintendent, leadership at the central office. I truly believe that the communication needs to be 2 ways. I think that, and I listened to parents coming in the door tonight. Said, I'm going to have a question or two for you. It's not going to be an easy one. Questions with kids are never easy. They are never easy. And, we just have to listen and work together for solutions. So again, you may throw me a curveball and I don't have the answer. But the way that we communicate with each other, the first thing I would do is let you know that I care, that I'm going to listen to you, and we'll figure this thing out together.
This is a longer one. In our recent zoning meetings, opinions were overwhelming that students should go to school in the communities and neighborhoods where they live, following a consistent school pipeline. What would you do to work towards this goal?
You know, I would say that, first of all, I would have to continue to learn and learn why those decisions were made. You spent a long time making sure that you went and you listened to communities, and you looked at the zoning. You're still looking at that, and I think that the work that you've done around this is hard decisions to make. We've made those in Hamlin County. They're never easy decisions. Being a leader is not easy. So sometimes you have to make difficult decisions. I would think that we need to continue to work to make sure that students have choices and options. And I've looked at what you're planning and proposing, so I think it's good for students and good for families. So I would tell you, continue to listen to make sure that students and parents have choices, regardless of what school you're in Knox County. Regardless, the most important thing is you have a highly effective teacher in every single classroom. When you do that, good things happen.
This is a two-part question. What are your ideas on future rezoning, new schools, and overcrowding? How do you feel about current class sizes, specifically as it pertains to K through second grade?
I'm going to start with the last part of that question, and then try to get back to the other. And you help me if I missed that first part, because the last part was about class size. And the most important thing, research, again, teachers, you know this, administrators out, the most important thing in a child's success in school is a teacher, is an effective classroom teacher. The greatest body of research happened right here in the state of Tennessee. Class size matters, but the effectiveness of a teacher matters more. So what we would have to do is try to work together. You know, the state is very particular on what class sizes have to be. In some of our most at-risk and challenging schools, where our kids come to school with lots of baggage, don't have opportunities for literacy inside the home, we need to work to keep class sizes small. You know, there are federal programs out there that we work with in Hamlin, you work with here in Knox County. So there are TI programs that you're doing, that you're working with. We know that. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 instruction. But we need to make sure that we stay within those class size mandates. But the most important thing when it comes to class size is an effective teacher. Now, getting back to the zoning question, help me out with that one more time.
No problem. What are your ideas on future rezoning, new schools, and overcrowding?
Well, with future rezoning, I mean, you just have to look at the growth within the community. And you have to see where the growth is, and you have to work with people who are working in areas of this and make sure that you have proper planning. So I would have to rely on those types of people for those types of decisions with that information.
What kind of training do you feel is important for all teachers to receive, particularly as it relates to children with special needs? I
think the best training that we can possibly give to meet the individual needs of all students. I'm again met with a parent walking in, and you know, that's what public education's about. That's what makes our country great, is that you can walk into West High School regardless of what problem you may have, what disability you have. Then we as educators are to design a plan and a program to meet the needs of that individual. There is nothing better than public education in America. Now, what we have to do as a school system is provide the very best training for all teachers possible. That's not just special education teachers, because we have inclusion, where we have special education and regular ed teachers working together. So we need to work collaboratively from special education and general ed teachers also.
What will you do to continue the work of the Disparities in Education Task Force?
Well, There's been quite a bit of information that's shared with me on that topic, and I've learned a lot and look forward to learning even more. But it kind of goes back to my last answer around efficacy. There is not a greater responsibility that we have in our country than to make sure that all children have the right to a high-quality education. Regardless of where they live here in Knox County or Hamlin County, they deserve the right to have a great teacher, great programs. Now, what we have to do as adults and educators is we have to believe in those kids. And those kids have to set goals. They have to dream. Dream big and focus small. Dream big and focus small. And then when they dream big, then what we can do is we can set up programs to help those kids. We have at-promise lists that we transition from elementary or from middle school to high school so that we know students who come from homes that haven't had good opportunities for higher education. We want to push them in honors classes. We want to give them opportunities to make sure that they know they can do this. They can take these rigorous courses and they can go on to college. They can get an industry certification. So that is what we need to be about, and I think that's what you do here in Knox County.
This is a three-part question. What do you feel is the benefit of teacher evaluations? What is your position on continuing them, and how do you plan to collaborate with teachers?
So you may have to help me again, okay? I'm going to talk about evaluation first. Okay. The state of Tennessee mandates that educators, that teachers are evaluated. The Knox County Board of Education didn't decide that. Your past leadership didn't decide that. The state of Tennessee decided that. And what I would say is how we work through that and are continuing to work through that is that too many things, and I shared this with the board yesterday, that's happened in the last several years in education, happened to teachers, not with teachers. The evaluation process should be about student work. Teachers should be a part, and I commend Knox County Board of Education in working, Interim Superintendent Thomas, in working in the area of making sure that the teacher task force is revamping and working on the evaluation process. And you're doing this with teachers, not to teachers. Not only in the evaluation process do you focus on student work, what you also have to do is make sure that students are mastering the standards that we're teaching in classrooms. Everybody in school systems are evaluated. And it goes back to what I said earlier, trust and building relationships. When you build relationships with people, then you can give honest feedback. If I haven't built a relationship with you, which I haven't, I can't give you honest feedback. So as a principal of a school, as a superintendent working with supervisors or principals, the only way that we're going to get better, and that's what evaluation's about, getting better, is build a relationship and give honest feedback because everybody wants to get better.
You covered it. How would you prioritize one-to-one technology versus student-to-teacher ratios?
I'm going to go back to my first answer, and I'm going to start with this, though. In Hamlin County, we have a Project Promise 2020. We are infusing technology through our entire school district. Our Board of Education said, Dr. Lynch, you're going to do this. I said, oh, we need to slow down. No, they said, we're going to do this. And it's worked out beautifully. High schools, we're working in middle schools and elementary schools with more technology. Technology is important. The greatest skill that we can give students is the ability to learn how to learn. And that's what technology has done. It's helped us learn how to learn. It's not so much now what's in your head, in your mind. Now, that's important. But the access to information now is a critical skill set. Critical skill set. But I go back to this. If you don't hear much about anything else that I say, it's all about teachers. You can have the greatest technology. I'm a technology, I love technology. But technology is not the answer to a quality education. A highly effective teacher in every single classroom in the state of Tennessee and focusing right here in Knox County is much more important than any laptop that you could put your hands in as far as with technology. But I also tell you, I think we should have both, not either or.
It's kind of a long one. Technology is a critical tool in supporting student learning. As such, there is an increasing need to bring families up to speed with technology, and that children from all socioeconomic backgrounds have access to the same education and resources. Please tell us how you would address this as superintendent.
Amen. Amen to that. That's what we're dealing with right now in Hamilton County with our technology initiative. If you want to learn about technology, parents, ask your kids. They'll teach you. That's what I've had to do as a superintendent. If you want to learn about technology, I see one or two students out there shaking their head. They know it. They know it. When I want to learn about something in technology, I ask teachers too. We have some incredible teachers that have taught me so much when it comes to technology. What we have to do now is make sure we give families that same skill set to try to keep up with them. We have technology nights in our schools, and I know you probably do that here in Knox County too. Technology night where you bring families, you bring parents in, and guess who's teaching about the technology? It's not the teacher, it's the students. Our kids can tell us and teach us a whole lot about technology. But I think making sure that parents are up to speed and knowing what's out there and what's important. But if we're not careful about technology, what we found is that all students need access. But what's happening is, if we're not careful, technology can bring us farther apart. Because in areas in rural Tennessee, we have some places that do not have good access. So when that happens, then it's not equal, it's not equitable. So we have to make sure that we continue to work to advocate that all areas in Tennessee, all areas in Knox County, have that same type of access for families and for students.
How would you balance academic program offerings like Magnet, IB, and STEM with budgetary constraints? Be specific.
Be specific. Be specific in just that question. Well, I would say, coming in not from Knox County, I would have to do some more homework in that area. But I also believe that the way that you close achievement gaps is not by reducing qualities or programs of excellence. What you do is you try to replicate and scale up good programs that you have in your school districts. And technology can be a great resource in that area through collaboration. And I believe that in Knox County, and we're already working with you in several areas, is that we need to continue to collaborate, because collaboration, it will just increase learning. So when I think of this, I think that we just have to continue to even work outside of Knox County to partner with other school districts to make sure that we can bring those resources in to classrooms and schools all across Knox County.
Given that research shows that if students aren't reading on grade level by third grade, they struggle for the rest of their K through 12 careers, what strategies would you implement to improve early literacy?
Well, if you followed yesterday, or if you heard anybody talk about me or my leadership, you know the importance I place on early literacy. And I wanted to make sure that I wrote myself a note, because I didn't want this one to get messed up. Literacy, early literacy is a civil rights issue. Every child should have that right and that opportunity. And if we don't do it early, then we will not succeed. Not just in education, but in our community and our country. We have to make sure that children, regardless of the zip code, have access to high quality literature materials, whether they're in the home or they're not. We have to make sure that we work with families to provide them skills and opportunities to make sure they know that literacy and reading is important to kids. To be a leader, you have to be a reader. And the quicker and the earlier we can start, the better it will be for all children in Knox County and in Tennessee.
This is a two-part question. How would you handle decisions that are unpopular with the public but educationally necessary? How will you handle situations where the right choice goes against the will of the community?
Well, I think that's a difficult question, not knowing exactly what that is. But in education, I guess if that question is related around a legal, a law issue, that happens often in public education. And as a leader, I may believe we need to do A, but that's also why we have the law department. That's why we have people who make sure that they keep us on the straight and narrow, because we also have to do what's right. Sometimes it's upsetting that they don't work together. Outside my office or our office in Hamlin County, we have a road that's you go about 35 miles an hour. I believe you should be able to go 45 miles an hour, but I have to follow the law. And sometimes, I think that in education, we think that things should or should not happen. We have to follow the law, but again, we have to make sure that we have relationships and trust, and we're open, and we share what we're doing and why we're doing it with our community and with our public.
What do you consider to be the key elements of establishing and maintaining a safe and secure learning environment?
Relationships. Relationships, relationships, relationships. That's what safe schools are about. If something happens, if you see something, say something. Young people, when you're in school, if something doesn't feel right, if you see something that it doesn't feel good, you ought to have enough trust in the adults in that building so that you can say something, and you know something is going to happen. When we as adults don't listen to kids, when kids don't feel like what they say matters, then we're losing that trust and we haven't built that relationship. And when we talk about bullying and harassment in schools, it all goes back to that trust issue too, and open lines of communication.
Got about 5 more questions. You're doing good on time.
Do I need to slow down or speed up? Are we okay?
I think everybody's good.
Okay, good. Okay.
This one's a little long, so.
Okay.
Teen suicide has received a lot of national attention. What supports and interventions would you like to see in place for students? How will you ensure that at-risk student populations, including LGBT students, are cared for and included?
Public education. I started out, and I'm going to say again, the reason I do what I do is because I love kids. And kids are different. Just like you out there as an adult, we're all different. And till the day I die, I will work as hard as I can to serve and love and make sure we provide the opportunities for every child in whatever district I'm in. I can't do it alone, but that's why we're part of a community that believes that public education is the answer, the answer to a great community and a great country. Students and children who come to school, and I met some today. My parents, 82 years old, are watching me right now on TV, I'm sure. And I can tell you right now, I had every opportunity and every advantage that some of you all had. Some people who we work with now, they don't have parents. They don't have a mom and a daddy that love them. They're lucky to have grandparents that raise them. That's what we've got to be about in public education. Children who come into our schools with baggage that some of us can't even dream of. We need additional supports from Nashville, for funding. We need more school counselors. We need social workers. We need a community. We have advocates here that help us in schools. Our schools are just a microcosm of our society. And to be a community of excellence, which I know that you want to be and I want to be a part of, it's going to take all of us to help kids. And again, I go back to our teachers. Thank you for what you do every day. You're miracle workers, but you can't do it alone.
Share your thoughts of U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos and school vouchers.
Okay, who asked that question?
Not me.
He's getting up and leaving. I've never met her. You know, I tell you something about Dale Lynch too that you need to know is I am who I am. I'm not going to tell you something today, and then you're going to find out later. I have a terrible memory. A terrible memory. That's why I always have to tell the truth. Okay? And here's the truth with that one, is that it's hard for me to believe until I've met somebody and I have a chance with them. So I'm not going to stand here and just totally criticize her, but I am going to tell you this. I'm an advocate for public education. We need every dollar in classrooms in public schools in Tennessee and across our country. I will fight for that. I will work for that. And anybody who's against that, I'm not going to be a rebel against them, but I want to bring them along and I'm going to show them the boys and girls that I worked with today. They need every dollar that they can get. Public education in Knox County and Hamlin County in Tennessee, we don't need to take money away from public schools and put them somewhere else. We don't need to do that. As I said, I do not know her, but if her support is taking money or funding away from public schools, then I am totally opposed to that.
How would you propose to unite our stakeholders, despite their many differences, in helping achieve the goal of excellence for every child?
Well, I didn't say something at the beginning that, when you're up here, if you ever have this opportunity, you ought to try this. It's really fun. What I wanted to say early, too, is that I've had the opportunity to almost 3 decades now to work in public education in Tennessee, all the way from east to west. Here's what I want you to know, too. People in Tennessee, and I have so many superintendent friends that text me and tweet me and all those things, say, good luck, Dale, you'll do great and all that. Knox County, you should be proud of the work that you're doing. I don't know why some of you all don't think great things are happening in Knox County. Down the road, about 65 or 70 miles, we talked today about the work you're doing here. It's incredible. It is truly incredible. So the first thing I would tell you is celebrate your success. Believe in what you're doing and celebrate your success. And the way you do that is you start telling your students stories more and more and more. And I use an analogy. I love Jim Collins. Jim Collins' books, The Good to Great, and make sure you get the right people on the bus, in the right seats, built to last, making sure that you have that organization, that leadership team. It's not always competitive. It's about collaboration. But what you also have to do is make sure that you understand and celebrate your successes. And the magic of momentum, I've said time and time again through this process, the more people that you get on that flywheel pushing and helping, the faster that thing goes. And pretty soon everybody wants to get their hand on it because it's good. And that's the way it is in Hamlin County right now. Everybody wants to be a part of something good. And you know how big Knox County is? You know how fast you can get that going? I want to be a part of a community that has one heartbeat for all kids. And you can do that here.
This is a 3-part question.
3-part.
3-part. They're short. What do you do for recreation? What are your hobbies and how do you relax?
Good questions, and I'll tell you, I've learned a lot in my work with superintendents across Tennessee. I've had the opportunity to coach and mentor superintendents, and I've learned a whole lot more from them, and I'm sure they've learned from me. But I've learned if you don't have some R&R time, you will burn out, and you won't be as good as you need to be. I'm still trying to take my advice, because being a superintendent is a difficult job, it's a tough job. And to relax, I love to play golf. And that's one of two things I've really found that can take my mind off work. Because if I'm on the golf course and I am focusing on golf, I'm on the golf course and I'm focusing on work, I am a horrible golfer. And I'm not very good anyway, but I can tell you it's the one thing that has given me a little bit of relaxation. I love to exercise and read, and I'm an early morning person. When you gave me the early slot tonight, that was good for me. But I'm an early morning person. I like to get up about 4:30 in the morning. I like to exercise. I like to run and try to stay in shape because I also like to eat. And so, you know, I keep those calories going, but I also try to get on that treadmill.
All right, last question.
And I watch you very early sometimes and others early too. So.
I appreciated the 4:30
Okay.
note. Yeah. All right, what is the thing you are most looking forward to and the thing you are least looking forward to about being superintendent?
About being superintendent or about being superintendent in Knox County? Because regardless, I assume that means in Knox County. I think you could have a special kind of excellence right here in Knox County. I go back to what I said earlier about one heartbeat. You do not need to have islands of excellence in Knox County. You know the saying, you know, I've said I'm a reader. I try to learn as much as I can. You know, you've heard this before, a high tide raises all boats. Well, I believe that. And I believe as a community, if we will work together, all children, all schools can flourish and can grow. And it should not matter which school you're in. You should be able to have excellent teachers, excellent opportunities. What was the last part of that? What would I not like about being a superintendent
What would
here?
you not like?
I talk with people every day teachers say, I've got a great job, I love my job. Our custodian in our central office every day, and he meets me, I'm there early, he's there early. He said, I've got the best job, but he knows now, the first thing he says, I've got the second best job because I've got the best job in Hamlin County. And if I were selected as your superintendent, I would have the best job in Knox County because I get to be around boys and girls and teachers who are miracle workers. And again, I love kids. 10,000 kids, 60,000 kids just multiplies my happiness.
All right, that was actually the last question. So thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll take a little bit of a break here, so you guys have some time if you'd like to go chat with Mr. Thomas as well, and then we will reconvene in this room. Welcome back. If everybody could go ahead and find their seats, we'll get started here in just a second. Hopefully everybody had a chance to meet with Mr. Thomas here in his little, about half an hour there. Hopefully everybody had a chance to talk with him. He will now give a brief introduction of himself and a summary of the presentation he gave to the members of the board yesterday. Then he'll have approximately 50 minutes to answer the same questions that were asked of Mr. Lynch. Again, they were compiled by the Knox County Public Affairs team from all the questions that were submitted to us via email, Twitter, text messages, and in person tonight. So Mr. Thomas, he'll take about 2 to 3 minutes to answer each question. I'll step forward at about the 2.5-minute mark if need be. So you go ahead with your introduction.
Thank you, Heather. And Let me first of all thank everyone for being here. I thank our school board for being here, school board members. Also, I saw some county commissioners, and appreciate county commissioners being here. I know I don't want to leave anybody out. I know there are teachers here, but I just appreciate everyone being here tonight to hear what I have to say, and I'll try to be succinct in my responses and try to answer the questions as best I can. I'm Bob Thomas. My career, my lifelong career in Knox County, so I'm working on I think 44 years in education, in public education, 44 years in Knox County. So my whole career I have spent here, so this is my home. I certainly love Knox County schools. I love my community, and just want to have an opportunity to serve serve our school board, our students, our educators, our families. I've got sort of a servant type mentality. I want to serve you, and I've spent time as a teacher, as an assistant principal, as a supervisor in our human resources department, and also as assistant superintendent in charge of operational areas within the school system, most recently the administrative services area, which includes finance and human resources in my past, most recent experience.
We'll get started with the questions then.
Let me do my... Oh, yeah, my presentation. What I talked with the school board about yesterday, I've got 3 priorities in terms of what my perceived priorities are. And let me tell you, number 1, and it's a non-negotiable, is increasing student achievement. I'll do these quickly, so if I get cut off, I'll make sure I say everything that I want to say. In addition to that, I want us to work towards creating and building a positive culture within our school district. If we're going to achieve and move forward, I think that's extremely important. The other thing that is very, very important to me, and there's work being done at the present time, is eliminating disparities. And that is, those are my three priorities, I guess, in terms of increasing student achievement. Of course, reading and the emphasis that's being placed on reading, personalized learning. I want to make sure that we have as many students as we possibly can have meeting the state benchmark of a 21 on the ACT. Because why? Because that's what the state uses as a college in career ready, as a 21 on the ACT. We've got about 27% of our students right now that meet that, but that's 73% that don't. That's not good enough. That's not acceptable. And our community deserves better. Our students deserve better. In terms of creating a positive culture, working with families is extremely important to me. I spent time as a principal, and in my time as a principal, the thing what I found out most was if you've got the parent and the student and the school working together, your success rate is almost 100%. So any one of those components drops out, then certainly that minimizes the chances for success. So my goal is to have us working in every situation with parents, the student, and the school. In terms of eliminating disparities, we have an achievement gap that we have to close with our subgroups. Our teachers need to have training in cultural competence. We need to increase access to IB and AP courses and honors courses at our schools. Had a young student talk to the school board the other day about not having the same educational opportunity at one of our high schools as her friends had at another high school. That's something that's not acceptable. Also, addressing the discipline disparities that are in our school district. So again, those are my 3 priorities. Of course, I work for the Board of Education, and I would work with the board to make sure that our vision is the same. And at that point, then we'll move further. So, okay.
All right. Again, you got about 3 minutes to answer these questions. We can get through the entire list, hopefully, that Mr. Lynch had earlier. First question, and this one's 2-part. Why do you want to leave your current position to become superintendent of Knox County Schools? Tell us the most important attributes that qualify you for this position and why.
Okay. Let me go back to why I want to be superintendent of Knox County Schools. I have one goal in mind, and that's to move this district forward. I think I mentioned a minute ago with student achievement that we have to do better. I feel like that what I can bring to this school district is my skills and my talents to help move this school district to the next point, to increase student achievement, to eliminate diversity or disparities, to also to lost my thought there, create a positive climate in our school district. So it's the second part, Heather, if you don't mind.
No, don't mind at all. Tell us the 3 most important attributes that qualify you for this position and why.
Okay, in terms of most important attributes, first of all, I feel like I'm a good listener. I think that's very important for the superintendent to be a good listener. I care about people. I care about our students. I care about our employees. I've tried to do everything during my career to be a servant to the people that I work with. In addition to that, I feel like I'm a good relationship builder. I think it's extremely important that the superintendent is able to build relationships with, of course, obviously the school board, but county commission. They're our funding body, also our elected and appointed officials. So I feel like that I have relationship building skills. So those are primary reasons, I think, or attributes that I would have.
All right, next question. What do you think the top priorities for Knox County Schools ought to be?
Well, I think I probably already covered it. I hate to repeat myself, but increasing student achievement, is the very most important thing we have to do. We have to prepare our students for the future. Jobs are changing. Technology is changing a lot of things. We have to prepare our students as best we can so that they can be successful once they leave high school, whether that's going into a college, the college track, or whether that's career ready. And I think that's the most important thing we have to do. And 2 things that I think that will help us get us there is building that positive culture and also eliminating disparities. Those are 2 things that are going to move us forward, I believe. And again, we need to do a better job. We certainly have many talented, academically talented students in our district, and we need to make sure that we're providing the courses to stretch and to grow those students as well as all students. So when I say in terms of educating all students, I mean all. Part of my presentation was all means all. So I think that covers the spectrum, and every student is entitled to the very best education that we can provide for them, and that doesn't mean one more than another. That means all. So all means all.
What is the first issue you want to take action on as superintendent?
The first issue, and again, I'm going to drive this home. Again, the issue with me is increasing the student achievement. I mean, we've got to recruit, retain effective teachers. We've got to have effective teachers in every classroom. Certainly, that's important. I don't know that there's just one issue that just to talk about, but again, the eliminating of the disparities. I think that is our board and committee has done work over that over the last several months. I think that's one of the most pressing things that we need to address. There's a report there that sort of leads and guides us into some things that need to be done, and we don't need to let that work not get done. We don't need to let that work not be completed. So again, my pledge, with the Board of Education and with the community is to do everything I can do within my power to eliminate the disparities in education and to increase student achievement.
This is a 2-part question. We have 89 schools, soon to be 91, which span urban, suburban, and rural communities. How would you go about meeting and introducing yourself to each one of these?
I think it's extremely important for the superintendent to be visible. So my goal would be to to get out into our schools, to visit schools each week, to try to find out, make sure I know what the schools need and try to support the schools. I think my role as superintendent is to support. In addition to supporting, it's also holding people accountable. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I know if it's me, the Board of Education is going to hold me accountable. I expect and want that. And I'm going to do the same for our schools. But I think in terms of what I would have to be and what I would have to do is to be visible out in the schools and visit the schools and have a deep understanding of any issues and problems that might be going on with our schools. So probably I may have a little bit more of an advantage with that than someone else, just simply because I've been here for the length of time that I've been here. And is that two-part you said, or did I?
Basically, how would you go about meeting and introducing yourself to each of these?
Okay.
What communication methods would you use between the district and community?
My preferred way of communicating is what I'm doing right now. I like face-to-face. I like meeting people. I feel like I can communicate better if I sit down with people and meet people face-to-face and really listen and understand. Gives me an opportunity to ask questions for clarification. I want to be sure I hear you. So that's my preferred way. Of course, there's multiple ways to communicate, but if I'm going to, this is what I like to do in terms of maybe not on stage in front of a group of people, but one-on-one with small groups, and I'm not uncomfortable with large groups either. So I don't want to make it sound like I don't appreciate being here, because I do. And when the numbers are large, you can reach more people, so I can communicate with more people. But that's pretty much my style.
This is a longer question. In our recent zoning meetings, opinions were overwhelming that students should go to school in the communities and neighborhoods where they live, following a consistent school pipeline. What would you do to work towards this goal?
Okay, I amen to that question. In terms of, I believe it's really important that our students go to the school that's located in their community. Their friends go to school there. They feel comfortable. They feel safe. Maybe we can't do that in all cases because there might be some geographic boundaries. Maybe we can't do that because of capacity issues that sort of get in the way sometimes if a school is over capacity. So we can't always do that. But I think any time that we can, going through the feeder pattern from elementary to middle to high school is very important, and I think that it brings stability to the students to see the same people that they're growing up with. So we just have to work. And again, there's some limitations. When I say I listen, I can't always do what you want me to do. I'm not going to stand here and say, "Oh, just come see me and I can make it happen," because I can't. There are parameters in which I have to work. But be assured, I'm going to hear you, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to try to do everything I can. But I do believe in the feeder pattern and that in the community schools. I know the board is looking at some rezoning, and that it's going to bring back some students to the community. And I saw a wonderful meeting. I went to Vine. I saw the community. The intensity in that meeting was just absolutely wonderful. Because there were people who were upset. We want our kids to go to this school, and and I'm for you. I really am. And when we do that, not only am I for you, you're going to come back and you're going to help me. You're going to help me educate your students. So we've got schools where the high priority schools, and Vine is one of them. But the intensity that was in that room that night in that rezoning meeting was just absolutely wonderful, and what I would like to see. I would like to see every community show that intensity, because that's what it's going to take to move us forward.
This is a two-part question again. Okay. What are your ideas on future rezoning, new schools, and overcrowding? How do you feel about current class sizes, specifically as it pertains to K through second grade?
Okay, in terms of new schools, and help me, Heather, if you would, please, yep. on the second part, when I'm ready. In terms of new schools, of course, there's a couple of 2 or 3 reasons why you build facilities. You have a facility that just eventually wears out. We've got some old schools and when that happens, you have to replace, you have to renovate, you have to remodel. You have situations where families move into a community, and then all of a sudden you have schools that you don't have the capacity to handle the students in that community. So you look at that. Funding is another issue, of course, the money to pay for schools. But primarily what you're looking at is the facility and its ability to handle the students that are in that school. And I think the second part maybe was class sizes, I believe. So I know you can get class sizes that are too small, but I am for smaller class sizes. If we're going to have students to achieve, and we have some challenging issues with some of our students. Maybe they're behavioral issues, maybe there are other types of things that are going on. But of course, the state has a law in terms of class size that you have to meet. But I feel like anytime you can have a smaller class size, especially looking at the challenges of the school, then that's what we need to do. We need to try, and it takes money. About 84% of our budget is salary and benefits. So we're about people, so that's where our money is. It's in people. Sometimes we struggle to balance the budget, but in terms of being supportive of smaller classrooms, I do support that, and we've got schools, again, where I said more challenges occur. So it's our job to lower those teacher-pupil ratios so that our teachers can be the most effective as they can be in terms of providing what our students need, and that growth being academic growth.
What kind of training do you feel is important for all teachers to receive, particularly as it relates to children with special needs?
Okay, we need I think we go back to one of the items on my presentation in terms of disparities. I think there needs to be cultural training. I think there needs to be training for our teachers in working with students with disabilities. It's like I said a minute ago. I think I want all of our students. I'm inclusive. All means all, and not one more than another. And the parents laugh about this, but the parents send us their best every day. It is our job to take every student at whatever level that student might be on, whatever the disability might be. It is our job to provide the very best services and the very best education for that child. Again, I'm a proponent for public education. I grew up in public education. My life has been public education, and that is our responsibility as educators.
What will you do to continue the work of the Disparities in Education Task Force?
I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I didn't have access to the questions either, but I've got a few things. I'm trying to vary my answer just a little bit so you don't hear me say that I'm trying to eliminate disparities. But of course, closing achievement gaps. You do that with effective teachers. You do that with professional growth opportunities for teachers to help them to work towards closing the achievement gaps. The cultural competence, I think we're going to get started really soon, the school board and our teachers in terms of providing some cultural competence training to our teachers. That is needed, so that work is ongoing. I mentioned a minute ago about access, about equity of the curriculum. And again, that's money, but our students deserve to have equitable opportunities no matter which school they attend. And then the discipline. In terms of discipline, we've got some things that we're doing right now with restorative practices. You might say, well, what does that mean? Again, and I think one of our principals said it very well in a video that was shown to the board not too long ago, and this principal said, when students struggle with their reading, we teach them to read. When they struggle with math, we teach them math. but when they misbehave, we fuss at them, and that resonated with me. So we have to teach, and we have schools that are doing this and doing a great job of it. But we have to teach behavior. We have to teach citizenships. We have to teach students what we expect, and I say expect, and high expectations. I am about high expectations. I have never in one day met or exceeded my expectations. That's how high my expectations are. I'm probably never going to meet or exceed my expectations, but that's not going to keep me from having high expectations. So, and that works for behavior just as well as it does for academics. And I'm going to be a model for that. Our central office is going to be a model for that. Our principals are going to be a model for that, and our teachers are going to be a model for that, and all of our employees are going to model that. So that's how strong. And I apologize. I can get passionate sometimes. I'm not trying to lecture you, but just trying to communicate how strongly I feel about some of these issues that we're talking about tonight, and also asking you and expecting you to hold me accountable. I'm not going to walk away from it. The board might send me away if I get the job, but it'll be because I'm not delivering on what I said I would deliver. Because for me, it's 7/24, 365. And I'm not sure I covered everything, Heather, or am I out of time?
No, you're good. It was just what will you do to continue the work of the disparities in education task force?
Yes, and again, that work my goal would be for that work to be completed. If you want a vision for that, you know what? Knox County has no disparities. None. Now, can I probably make that happen? I doubt it, but that's me. No disparities. How, so again, that's just me. So.
This is a three-part question. What do you feel is the benefit of teacher evaluations? What is your position on continuing them? And how do you plan to collaborate with teachers?
Okay. Teacher evaluation, very interesting work going on right now. We've got a committee that's working on the evaluation process. My ideas about evaluation, the evaluation instrument needs to be a tool used to support teachers and to grow teachers. It doesn't need to be something threatening, but it's there. Evaluation is good for all of us because what we need to do is point out the good things our teachers are doing. They need to know to reinforce the learning, reinforce what's going on in the classroom, because we have many educators doing all the right things. So, it's comforting and it helps to build trust when teachers know they are doing the right things. But it needs to be a growth opportunity. It needs to be non-threatening, and we need to have a part of our evaluation, the strategies for the most effective methods and means of instruction in our classroom. So I feel like the committee is working right now to do some of those things. So I think we'll end up with an evaluation instrument that's going to help this district in terms of its growth by providing more training for teachers, and not all teachers are great teachers. So, but maybe through the evaluation process, we can make a teacher that's not a great teacher a great teacher. Maybe it's just one or two little things that maybe they could improve in, that they become more effective. So I mentioned earlier about the importance of a highly effective teacher in every classroom, and that's what my goal again is, to have a highly effective teacher in every classroom. And you have to get there using the evaluation instrument for support and for growth.
How would you prioritize one-to-one technology versus student-to-teacher ratios?
I think technology is important, and that's the way of the world, and it's going to be the way of the future. But actually having a teacher in front of a group of students, and help me if I'm not, if I don't kind of hit this, but it's important that we have a teacher in front of our students. The technology is a tool, and that's an important tool. But more importantly to me is having that highly effective teacher in front of our students and in our classroom. Now, we have technology. We have some schools that are one-to-one, and technology is great, but some of the research out there on how much it's doing, it's not showing a whole lot at this point. But am I against technology? No. But here's part of the dilemma with Knox County schools, and we get a lot of money every year. We spend a lot of money. We spend it mostly, as I said, a minute ago, on our all of our employees, but 84% of it's salary. So technology is expensive. One thing that's happened in our school district is we've sort of got our technology ahead of what we can keep up with, from actually the people that working in the schools to maintain, to help teachers with the technology and to use that technology effectively. So sometimes the cart gets before the horse, and we've got a lot of technology, but we don't necessarily have enough people to support that, although we're working towards that. But if I had to pick one over the other, it's a highly effective teacher in a classroom, and a computer is. I'm not going to say it's like the chalkboard. The chalkboard is a tool. The chalkboard doesn't teach you. Now, obviously, you can get a lot more information out of a computer than you can on a chalkboard. But again, what's more important to me is that highly effective teacher in front of the students, and then if we're going to have technology, support it with the people that we need so that it actually works every day, and it works when the teacher needs for it to work. And I guess that's my stance on that, Heather.
Okay, this is kind of a long one. Technology is a critical tool in supporting student learning. As such, there is an increasing need to bring families up to speed with technology, and that children from all socioeconomic backgrounds have access to the same education and resources. Please tell us how you would address this as superintendent.
Okay, to be sure how I would address the technology for all students, is that pretty much get it? And our schools, a lot of our schools have bought technology through school funds, whether that's money that's been raised through coupon books, whether it's money that's been donated. But if we're going to do it, I mean, if we're going to have technology and have computers in all schools, then all students obviously are going to need the technology. I realize some in terms of economics, some families may not be able to buy their child a computer, whereas other families can afford computers, and their child may have a computer, a smartphone, and any other kind of device for communication and work. So I think that's something you work with the school board on. You also work with our funding body because it's money. I do believe in technology, but not technology over people. But if we're going to have it, my feeling is that, again, all means all, that every student is going to have the same opportunities from a standpoint of having technology. So that's a challenge. We have to figure out how to do that. And I'm not sure we can. I'm not asking for any more money from anybody at this point, but we have to figure out ways that we can put the technology in our students' hands within the funds that we get. And there are lots of demands for those funds. But if we're going to do it, we have to support all our schools and all our students.
How would you balance academic program offerings like Magnet, IB, and STEM with budgetary constraints? Be specific.
And what was the last part?
Be specific.
Be specific. Okay. About those programs, or about balancing the budget?
How would you balance the program offerings with budgetary constraints?
Oh, okay. I think our school board and our school district has done a really good job of providing multiple pathways for our students. Not every student learns as well, maybe going through the traditional high school or traditional school. So I think the answer to that, of course, is providing multiple pathways. Do we have enough? No. But what we have done over the last few years is we've made that a priority because it helps to increase our graduation rates. And the more opportunities that we can provide for students, then the more successful we're going to be with the students actually being able to do what the diploma says that they can do. So the L&N STEM Academy does a great job. The Career Magnet Academy does a great job. Paul Kelly does a great job, the Volunteer Academy. So we need to explore more of those, and what you have to do in looking at the budget, you have to budget for student achievement and what's best for students and what's best for instruction and instructional support. We don't budget, we're in central office, but we don't need to budget for central office. So now people are going to say, you know, Bob, you can't come to work free. I understand that, but what goes on in our schools is what our business is. So we have to put our money into the schools and into programs that are going to allow our students to be successful.
This is kind of a longer one. Given that research shows that if students aren't reading at grade level by third grade, they struggle for the rest of their K through 12 careers, what strategies would you implement to improve early literacy?
Thank you. Good question. And yes, we have students who struggle with reading, and if they're not reading on grade level, the chances of them making that 21 on the ACT, it's not very good. So reading to me is the most important. I think we need to look at more strategies. We've got a year-long reading course right now that's in our schools. I think it's in K through 2, K through second grade. There is work being done to expand that program into fifth grade. Here's an idea I had. I don't know. I haven't really explored the idea to see how feasible it is, and I'm not trying to pile more work onto to teachers, but all of our teachers across the curriculum need to be. We need to try to equip our teachers to teach reading. So the year-long reading course, I don't know that there's a possibility of expanding that into middle school and into high school. But if it is, I feel like that's what we need to do because, again, I say across the curriculum, my wife was a music teacher, but you know what? She taught reading. So you can teach you can teach reading in addition to teaching singing, or you can teach reading in addition to teaching anything. Now, I'm not trying to put more work on our teachers. We need to work smarter. We need to provide the training, and we need to incorporate reading across the curriculum. In terms of course by course by course, and also vertically within the curriculum, because sometimes we have maybe a high school student is not reading on grade level or whatever. Well, and again, I said it sounds pie in the sky, but I don't know how you get there anyway but this way, and that means all. When will Bob be happy? Bob will be happy when every child is reading on grade level. So I think it's my job as superintendent to find out, if I get that job, what works best, and then equip our teachers. And again, I said I'm not trying to put additional work on teachers, but I think in some cases maybe we can work smarter, not necessarily harder.
This is a two-part question. How would you handle decisions that are unpopular with the public but educationally necessary? How will you handle situations where the right choice goes against the will of the community?
Hey, again, I think it's my job as superintendent. If there are issues that are not popular, and I'm not going to walk away from issues that are not popular, but I think we have to. First of all, I think I said I was a caring person. And that means I care about all the individuals, and I'm not going to turn my back, and I'm not going to walk away from an unpopular decision. And I also said I was a communicator. I also said I like to talk face to face to people. I also said I like to listen to people. So that's the way we would try to work through that. I mean, I'm not going to always convince everybody. Or change everybody's opinion, but it's my job to be a listener and to try to communicate those unpopular things. There'll be times when I said it a little while ago. I can't be all to all in terms of doing what everyone wants to do, but what I can do is give my time to you and listen to you and try to serve you and communicate those things that are unpopular. I really don't know of another way to go about it. And the second part, Heather?
Just how will you handle situations where the right choice goes against the will of the community?
Well, again, I think it gets back to, for me, to caring, to listening, to communicating. And that's what I would pledge to do.
What do you consider to be the key elements of establishing and maintaining a safe and secure learning environment?
Hey, yes. Well, I think we've done a great job of that. Can we do better? Again, as I said a minute ago, I'm never satisfied. One of my driving themes is competitor. So a competitor is always measuring. So I always measure one thing against another. But we've done a lot of good things in terms of security by providing security officers in our schools. We've taken some steps to better secure our schools. So it's sort of like I kind of say it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't feel safe and secure where you are, that's a primary concern. We have to take care of that. You have to feel like that you're in a safe and sound, our teachers, for all of our employees, but a safe, sound environment if effective learning is going to take place. So I think with the department that we have with security, we've taken steps over the last few years to do a better job with security. Again, so I think that we need to make sure in every situation that we provide a safe and secure environment for every child and every employee. And it's done some unpopular things. I know when you see a fence around a school, maybe it doesn't look quite as good, but we've done some things with entryways and fences and alarms and things of that nature. Also security officers in schools. So I feel very good about the steps we've taken to put a priority on security and safety.
This is a two-part question. Teen suicide has received a lot of national attention. What supports and interventions would you like to see in place for students? And how will you ensure that at-risk student populations, including LGBT students, are cared for and included?
Okay, let me ask you if you would repeat that for me, Heather. And let me apologize a little bit. In terms of a disability, I don't hear as well as I used to. So it's not Heather, it's me. So again, if you would repeat that so I understand.
Not a problem. Teen suicide has received a lot of national attention. What supports and interventions would you like to see in place for students? How will you ensure that at-risk student populations, including LGBT students, are cared for and included? Okay,
I asked a question a little bit earlier in terms of, and I don't know how else to answer this other than all means all with all students, regardless of once again, the kids come to us to school. They're entitled to the very best education that we can provide to them, no matter what. That's maybe that's too general of an answer, but I'm supportive of all of our students, and what I would do is try to ensure that we'll follow the law, whatever the law is. In terms, because we have to. I mean, that's the legal thing that we have to do. But I do support. I support all of our families and all of our students. I work with the school board to address any kind of issues that come up. We'll talk about that. School board meetings are public. We'll make a decision, and then it's up to me to make sure that we enforce that decision and our employees enforce that decision. So, not real sure if I covered everything on that or not, Heather, so.
Share your thoughts of U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos and school vouchers.
I didn't expect that one. Lord. You sure that was? Okay. Oh, my. I am hopeful. I remain hopeful, and I will remain hopeful. I'm optimistic that that the Secretary of Education will will endorse public education and will embrace public education, and before some point in time will be a public educator. How's that? I mean, President Trump, gosh, he makes his decisions. I can't make those for him. But and again, back to my all means all, we have to work with everybody. But to me, it's about public education. Again, I'm a product of public education, and that's what I believe in. I don't know that we're so far removed from the Secretary of Education. Maybe we won't be too terribly impacted. I don't know. But like I say, I remain hopeful that maybe the viewpoints will change and the light will come on, and public education is where I want to be. So, and was there another part to that question?
That was it.
Thank goodness.
We've got 3 more questions, so we're doing okay on time.
Oh, gosh, is that all?
Yeah, you're doing good. How would you propose to unite our stakeholders, despite their many differences, in helping achieve the goal of excellence for every child?
Oh, gosh, it's a similar type question came up yesterday. I'm not a salesman by nature. As a matter of fact, I probably couldn't sell anything. But one thing I feel like I can sell is education. And I have a passion for it. And I love working with our stakeholders. Again, like I said earlier, the more people that we can get working with us and in our schools, the more effective we are going to be. And I've had I feel like a pretty good track record in working with some of the stakeholders, not all of them, but I know our county commission, our elected officials, appointed officials. Again, what I'm about is relationship building. What I'm about is integrity. I said to the school board yesterday, you may not always like what I have to say, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's the way I've been all my career. It's gotten me to here. It may get me kicked out the door tomorrow. I don't know. But that is not going to change who I am. So I'm a person of integrity. I like working. I love working with people. I love making a difference. I think the best way I can make a difference is selling our school system on a day-by-day basis. Again, 24/7, 365. So that's what I would pledge to do in terms of my work. I'm going to serve until I can't serve anymore, provided I get the job. May not get the job, I may be through serving, but that's me, and I'm going to work with our stakeholders to try to sell this school system as best we can, because I think that's the way that we're going to get to where we need to. With it's going to help student achievement, and when we come to work every day, what are we going to do today to improve student achievement? What are we going to do every day to make sure that all means all, that every child has access to the very best educational opportunities that we can possibly provide for them?
This is a 3-part question. What do you do for recreation? What are your hobbies, and how do you relax?
I work, and I work. I've worked all my life. I don't, one day I know I'll have to quit. I'm not looking forward to that day. I do like to play golf, but I can't tell you the last time I played golf. I just don't have time to play golf. I like to exercise. Like I'm pacing up here, I like to get my steps in, so I'm way behind today because of some of the processes I tend to be going through right now. But I do like to exercise. I do read a little bit. When I say a little bit, fiction is not necessarily my thing. I like to read for knowledge. Again, one of my themes, that's telling the school board this yesterday, is a learner theme. I'll constantly have to be learning something. So I like to read some of the things I read I don't understand, but I like to read for learning, read for knowledge. I picked up one of my sons. He was at the University of Tennessee in engineering, brought a math book home. I thought, I'm pretty good in math. Let me just open this book and see if I can understand what this problem is. Well, I might as well have been looking at Greek, so I didn't open it again, so I don't quite go that far. But those are some of the things I like to do when I have time to do it. But maybe this is unhealthy, maybe this is bad, but it's got me this far. I love to work, and I know you need to relax and have recreation. And I try to watch TV a little time, sometime a little bit. But again, work is what I'm about.
Last question. What is the thing you are most looking forward to and the thing you are least looking forward to about being superintendent?
The wonderful question. And you've heard me say it before. What I look forward to most is increasing student achievement, building positive relationships, eliminating diversities. Those are challenges, and I love a challenge. And I look forward to that, to getting up every morning and figuring out how I'm going to get that done and working with the people I work with, how to get that done. I can't really think of anything. Let me tell you, I'll tell you what's tough. What's really tough is balancing the budget. So that's probably the thing. That I have to do that as superintendent. The board has to do that. But balancing the budget is one of the most difficult things because you know what? We never have enough money to do the things we want to do. Our schools never have enough money to do all the things that they want to do. So that's probably my least favorite. And our teachers, let me brag, we've got some of the most wonderful educators around, I think. And I think we can have a school district and a school system that's going to be looked up to by everyone. I don't want to define our school system by geographic boundary. I just want it to be the best. And we've got some wonderful educators that need to be paid more than what they're being paid. It's really embarrassing when you look at our salaries in comparison to some of the surrounding counties, Oak Ridge, Alcoa, Maryville. Teachers don't have to go very far. I was just looking at a report today. Over the last 2 years, we've lost 50 plus teachers to school systems that just adjoin Knox County. 50 of our educators. And more than likely, they were probably some of our best educators. So I think we have to find a way to pay our teachers more, but probably balancing the budget might be my least favorite activity. And I'd just like to say thank you so much for being here. I would like to say thank you for listening to me. I hope that what I communicated is that this is who I am. And hopefully the school board would see fit to allow me the opportunity to serve them, to serve the students, to serve our educators, to serve the community, to serve our parents. Because I think there are exciting times ahead for Knox County schools, and I'd like to continue to be a part of that as your superintendent and in leading our school district, which is exemplary. Can we be better? Yes, we can be better. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Patty Bounds, Chairman of Knox County School Board. And before we dismiss, I would like to thank the Superintendent Search Committee once again for the great work they've done. I'd like to thank both of our candidates, Dale Lynch and Bob Thomas, for being here tonight, and also to Heather Haley with WVLT for moderating for us. But most of all, I want to thank you all for coming out on this rainy night and participating and giving us your support and your input, and that is so vital to all of us. So with that being said, this concludes our meeting. Drive safely and have a great evening.